about to kill myself.
Okay.
So.
So one thing about the performance when I use it, just ignore the DC and all that other stuff. Because
It didn't say that. If you just click one of the circles, when you switch your axes to combat, it should just say the thing, like just the name of it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to test it, but I'm scared it's gonna.
Well, I can just have you guys
just
rest.
unclick it.
I can just what? Click it?
You can unclick it, yeah, you can just click it again. Box.
Oh, so it just says
Bardic performance. Alright.
it didn't use it though, so I don't know. It didn't take off the counter, but okay. Yeah, it didn't use it. It says cast 0 of 0.
Let me pull up your fantasy grounds and see.
Oh no, I don't want to take you away from what you're doing because it sounds
Oh,
like you're wrestling with something.
No, I'm not wrestling with it. I'm done. I don't care anymore.
You've admitted defeat.
Nuke it from orbit. That's the only way. Only way to be sure. Okay, where did you? Is it under your race? Oh yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I just wanted something to keep track of it.
So you change your mode to. Okay, there's your problem. You have it under wizard. Just switch to sorcerer, spontaneous caster, and then you go combat.
I have no idea what you're doing. I'm just gonna let you do it.
I'm gonna share my screen so you can see. Okay. Can you see? Or is it exploding?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So, under race, if you come down here, if you have that closed, so here's your ability, your third level spell ability, but your bardic performance is right here. So if you're in standard, here's your 28 uses. You have preparation, I have this set as sorcerer, because it's just, you know them and you know your bardic performance and thing, you don't have to prepare it. And then you go combat, and then you come in here, and you just, boom, there's a
so
round.
I have to click it to combat?
Yeah, you click it to combat, and the nice thing for, like, if we go to your other thing, once you are in combat and you cast all 6 of your things, then it won't let you cast something else. So, yeah, do all this, then boom, they go away.
Okay.
And then I can come in here and I can say overnight rest, boom, now all your stuff's back. But when you're in combat, as soon as you hit that 6 out of 6, then your level 1 spells disappear. Same thing with your 2 and 3.
Really?
So, yeah. Alright, I'm going to proceed to have an aneurysm. I hope nobody minds.
Audio's getting screwed, or
No, so, okay. In Twitch Studio, it does, like, it has an option to have separate audio sources for my headphones and Discord, but it doesn't actually pull, like, it, and I can select Discord as a thing, but then it still routes Discord audio through my mic. Here, let me share my screen so you can see what I mean. Okay. So on Twitch Studio, we can see us. So here on audio, if I go into Audio Mixer, so normally it had this. I can go Discord and add. So now it's got my headphones, which you can see that it's picking up from my mic, and then it's got Discord right here. But if you guys talk, so go ahead and someone say something.
Alright.
You can see it still puts it through my mic, but it doesn't catch it as well as from you guys. And I don't know why, but one way or the other, it is sending the Discord audio not to the Discord thing. And so the end result is that everybody else is way quieter than me.
How could it have changed? Like, what happened?
The only thing that I changed between the first few streams and now is Erica's monitor was having issues, and so we switched monitors. And the only thing that I had done differently on the previous monitor, and I already did it to this one now, is I took the monitor itself away as an audio possibility, so it wouldn't use the speakers, because I was having issues before where some things would go there and I couldn't change them. So, yeah. Like, here it is. It's like, hey, it's Discord, but it doesn't actually use it. So, yeah. Cancer.
Dude. Alright.
So, yeah. I guess that's how it's going to be. I don't know. I'll have to... I don't even know. The lazy part of me is like, I guess we're not streaming on Twitch. Well, yeah. So make sure that you talk loud when you're talking, so that Twitch can hear you better, but it's gonna make me...
You not turn us all the way up on your...
I have you at all 200%. And I don't believe it made an ounce of difference.
That's
Which is incredibly frustrating. Yeah. So, yeah. I might try something other than Twitch Studio. Just download something else. Yeah. Anyway. So, recap from last time. You went and found a village that had seemingly been destroyed by whatever large creature has been terrorizing and defending the countryside from intruders. Upon freeing some of the villagers that had survived the attack, you were able to gain some information from them about the creature to find out that it is some sort of insect carapace that has been infused with necromantic energy, and then has been able to grow to colossal size. However, before you could decide what to do from there, you noticed that you were not alone. The sky began to be darkened as dark clouds were covering the sun, even though it was midday, and shortly thereafter, you saw a large group of people coming towards you. Whereupon a majority of you hid, using magic to hide yourselves from undead, and Prince, who claimed to be able to stand out against the undead without being immediately attacked, was there to greet them when the people came. You used a little bit of magic to assist in the attempt to make yourselves appear as though you weren't there, and then Prince carried on a conversation with a vampire, a tiefling vampire who called himself Helbrin. He claims to have been sent to find you, or at least to find the rest of the party. But Prince was able to convince him that you had fled, that he had convinced you to leave, and at least apparently Helbrim bought that lie. After a small altercation, Helbrim took the rest of his group and left, after which you all emerged unharmed, along with the villagers, from the pit. So, summary out of the way, let us begin.
To add to the summary, there was a lot of conversational conflict after.
Would you like me to summarize any of that?
Yes.
Okay, so if I recall, and if I start to speak out of turn, please cut me off, but Calistan had indicated that he knows Helbrim. There was apparently a little bit of knowledge between Maleth and one of the vampires who she was able to recognize after sharing a memory from Prince. And then Jasper had appeared very standoffish and uncertain after hearing the descriptions of the vampires from Prince. Next, the vampires, there was the tiefling who was missing an eye, there was a human woman, and there was an elf male.
Jasper, no, he's not. I'll let you guys.
Gabriel, go ahead and give me a sense motive check. Yeah, go ahead and roll and then say what you got out loud for viewers.
32.
You can tell that Jasper is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jasper, but he is just shaken up, and you can see conflict on his face. Uncertainty as you have never seen before. Before, he's usually seemed, while he's been standoffish, and while he's been not always the most communicative, he's at least been stern and stoic to an extent. Where now, it's almost as if that facade has broken.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Jasper.
Description,
What about
Jake?
Maleth? Do I need to roll another sense motive?
Use the same sense motive.
The same one?
Yep.
32.
Is there anything on your face, Maleth? Anything he can tell about you?
I don't know. Why exactly is he sense motive? I'm sorry.
He's doing a sense motive kind of just to get a read of you and Jasper.
Oh, okay.
We towards the end, because I guess the conversation was mostly us trying to figure out, why is what does Prince know about oh geez
The one big vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, there was also the reveal about Maleth last time, I believe. Yeah, that
That's what I was wondering.
Pietro
He was
is
asking
your
for-
father. So that was the reveal,
Yeah.
is that Pietro was your father.
Yeah.
and
that's what I was
Jasper
wondering.
also. Yeah, so Jasper. Yeah, so Pietro's is your dad. Jasper also is Pietro. And I guess you and I were both like, Prince, how come you, Pietro, you're just talking about him
Yeah.
so casually?
Yeah.
And I think you were able to deduce last time that when Prince claimed that he doesn't actually know Pietro, he was just bluffing to be believed by them. You believed him when he said that.
Yes, I do remember that part. So, yeah.
And who was that woman's name? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you.
I was supposed to like find that.
Jake, what was the name again?
I
So
can
there's
tell you in a
there's the
second.
woman that Prince actually talked to.
Mhm.
I don't know her name, but there's another.
I didn't actually say her name. I alluded to her in the conversation, but I didn't actually say who she was.
But in previous sessions, you've talked about her, or you mentioned her name, I think.
Did I?
I just want to be able to write it down.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I need doing.
Well, give me a second. I need to write it down too, obviously, because.
Yeah, that's right. I have notes right over here. There we go.
Anyway, Enrique, to answer your question about the sense motive, if it was into conjunction with the conversation about Pietro, you might have seen me tense up a little with a little bit of maybe worry on my face, not sure how people would respond. But you'd also probably detect sincerity, because I'm not exactly lying about him being my dad or wanting to make sure he doesn't harm anyone further. But if it's something else, I've had to think about it.
Her name was Arinel.
Dirty liar.
Said that.
Okay, sorry I missed that part. Was there anything that I needed to hear out of that?
I don't think so. I think it's everything you already know.
Okay. All right. Is there any other?
No, the woman's name that was mentioned was Emmeline Tempest.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that woman. Yes. That's the vampirist that Jasper knows.
Okay. We also had a discussion about the fact that Helbram said that the capital was under Pietro's control, and we talked about the implications of what that might mean.
So, do elaborate. What are the implications? Unless you wouldn't have talked about that directly as a group.
I would talk about what it could mean, like, because I haven't actually been to the capital yet, and I don't know anything about it. So I assume that it either means that he's either in complete control, or he is dominating the mind as vampires do of the queen or whoever is in charge of the capital, or maybe he's impostering as a, and all of those things could be considered.
Oh, right, we were talking about that, yeah. My theory was yeah, exactly that. She's being manipulated, and they are behind the scenes. They have control of the current powers of the city, but yeah, I don't think that it's like crawling with undead by any means.
Yeah, you were also upset about the fact that there are some protections that people can do in such things, especially if they're in positions of power. But
Wait, I was upset.
Oh, that was no. You had made a comment. Actually, was your comment about mind control in character or out of character?
I think it was out of character.
Because you had gone on to say if there was a king or a queen who didn't have a permanent protection from evil to protect them from compulsions, that they deserved to be overthrown.
That was
in and out of character. I think anyone of sound mind would believe that.
No, he would phrase it more tactfully than that, but he would think that it's mighty stupid that somebody wouldn't have protection from evil on them. A first level spell? Come on. I can afford to have that permanently cast on me.
So, based on that, it seems like our are to continue the worm thing, but seeing how those vampires could easily just come back, and I don't think I could do something a second time, maybe we should go towards the capital.
Why would... Well, if we're trying to avoid them, then we shouldn't. I mean, did you even tell them that you were going to the capital?
Yes, I did. I did, and I started walking towards the Capitol.
I mean, okay, what can we do, best case scenario, if we reach the Capitol?
We could find the Queen and maybe get an audience and see if she is being compelled, and maybe relieve her of the compulsion.
Okay.
Well, okay, say we find out, oh yes, the monarch is being compelled. What do we do at that point?
I can,
And how can we prove that, you know,
Yeah.
to everybody?
well, I have a performance that would allow her to use my performance skill as a saving throw against dependent spells and effects. So she could potentially roll a 20 plus, for her to overcome that.
I was in character. I went out of character.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I was not expecting that.
What specifically?
Yeah, I was talking in character.
yeah, we could. I have ways of getting her out of her compulsion. Potentially.
As,
Okay.
You know, I've tried to like help out people in power before. You know, when things are going down, and people don't like it when you just do that. At least not in my case.
Well, I would spin it. I mean, it is a performance. I could say that it is customary to perform for a queen or a king, and then they would just get it. I mean, that is also a possibility. It is a performance.
Well, I mean, if you can convince them of that, but I'd rather not get in a fight with the living if we don't need it.
Well, it wouldn't be a hostile action. It is for friends. But
Well, I mean,
I understand.
yeah, if they're being compelled and stuff, then you know. What if like the guards person in charge is like, no, you can't play that, and you're like, no, I'm gonna play it. You just play it anyway, and then they're like, I told you not to play it. Bonk! Hitting you with my greatsword now. Like, yeah, that happens. So, no.
I mean, I respect what you're trying to go for, Prince, but I mean that there's a lot of variables of things that could easily go wrong
Yeah.
with that. And if you're especially not able to break her out, if that's not good enough, then what do we just sit there and be like, okay, well, thanks for the audience, bye, and then we're back at square one.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still definitely gather information, probably, about the state of the Capitol. That would be very useful. But I don't know. I personally believe the bigger threat at the moment to be probably the carrion feeder.
Okay. Well, a carrion feeder would be easy to dominate if anyone here is able to dominate undead, and that would be an incredible weapon against them.
Jasper, you...
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check, Prince.
Just for there.
see Jasper looking southeast.
Prince, can you give me an intelligence check?
And for a moment, his
Can you guys hear me?
conflict
Can you guys hear me?
fades. You're right. We don't.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can now? Okay. Go ahead and... Sorry to interrupt, Jasper. I was trying to talk before, but my mic wasn't working. Prince, can you make an intelligence check? As you had asked... You had asked Jasper that question, would he be up to that? So before I...
What sort of?
Hmm?
What sort of intelligence?
Just an intelligence check. Straight intelligence. D20 plus your intelligence mod.
Oh,
You're trying to remember something that you heard not too long ago. Yeah, never mind. Carry on. With an 8, you did not remember the thing, even though it was just about 30 minutes ago. Jasper, with what you were saying.
Nomad, you're right that we don't know what we're walking into. Should we go to the capital? There's so many variables that are not in our control, that we're ignorant of, and that could really mess things up. We do know, however, that our enemies currently do not expect us to head in that direction. But we have a giant pink hairless worm going that their direction, and some vampires that were all rather into, unfortunately.
You know, I suspect the reason why they like this worm going around in the first place is because, well, actually, can I do a knowledge check to know if if vampires can enter into buildings or not? Do I know that just inherently?
You don't know it inherently. You'll have to make a check, and then after you get high enough, because I know you will, now I'm gonna have to look it up. So go ahead and roll a check.
Religion?
Yes, knowledge religion.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, what'd you get?
That's natural.
Yep, okay.
Nice.
Give me a moment. I do not believe that they have any inhibitions towards entering a place.
Oh, well, never mind.
Okay, yeah. You do know that vampires are...
Do they have anything with
gosh.
mirrors and mirrors, garlic, anything like that?
I'm gonna have to...
That's what,
What
they
are you
want
checking
you
for
to
exactly?
Just vampires in general, just stuff about them. I'm trying to find a page that will go into it. So I know that they are... Okay, here we are. So you know that they can cause energy drain, and that I believe if someone is killed by their energy drain, they become a vampire. But as far as the... They can, you know that they can turn into a gaseous form at will. And then they can also change shape into a dire bat or a wolf. They have spider climb at will. Or they can climb as if affected by a spider climb. I can say they cast no shadow and show no reflection in a mirror. So to answer that question...
Okay. So I have no idea why a vampire would be a giant worm wandering around, especially if they're trying to convert people into vampires. That does not make sense to me.
Vampires cannot... Okay, I'm just going to tell you the last little bit, the weaknesses of vampires, since you got a nat 20 to know about vampires. They cannot tolerate the strong odor of garlic and will not enter an area laced with it. Similarly, they recoil from mirrors or strongly presented holy symbols. They don't harm them, they merely keep it at bay. A recoiling vampire must stay at least 5 feet away from mirror or holy symbol and cannot touch or make melee attacks against that creature. Holding vampire at bay takes a standard action. After one round, it can overcome its revulsion if it makes a DC 25 will save. Okay, to your other question. A vampire cannot enter a private home or dwelling unless invited in by someone with the authority to do so. So yes, they cannot.
So
Private home or dwelling. Reducing
that
a...
could be
Sorry, go ahead.
that could be the reason why they have this worm going around destroying all the buildings and stuff. Because if the building is destroyed, then there's nothing to stop a vampire from entering and then turning people.
Wait, so you're saying they're using the worm to like get past the issue of buildings?
Maybe. I mean, that's the only thing I'm just trying to figure out their motivation for wanting a giant worm running around when they're trying to create immortal beings everywhere.
No, I get you. I just want to
They're
make sure I understand.
certainly not trying to make everyone vampire. They're very proud. And
That is true.
Yes, he did say that certain people are deserving of that gift.
He is definitely a vampire supremacist. That's true. So I guess he's willing to allow this necromancer fellow. Did anyone remember his name from the conversation?
I think Alexander, was that correct?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Who? Wait,
Yes.
Yeah.
Alexander. Yes, it was Alexander.
So they're willing to allow Alexander to turn people into like mindless museum pieces. So I guess you're right. It doesn't matter the type of immortality as long as they are immortal. I guess it doesn't even. Yes, it doesn't even matter if they're conscious immortal beings.
Well, and also, just a thing that you would remember is that the group that was with them seemed to be acting, at least some of them, autonomously. There were a number of skeletons and zombies, but there were also some more intelligent-looking undead, such as wights and, I think, some intelligent skeletons. So, it's not like their entire group that was following the three vampires was just mindless zombies. There seems to be a bit more going on.
I wonder if they're being commanded or something like that. In either case, we can go look after this worm. Who can dominate? I would suggest doing something like that, at least to sway it. It's a mindless abomination running through the side. We use that to our advantage.
what do you think, Jasper? You can do?
I'm more worried about the intelligent type than the brute force type.
Well, I think the worm will be by itself. It seemed like that army came from the south and went back down towards the south, and I think the worm was going towards the east. I think. So we should be able to catch the worm by itself. And if the undead are indeed intelligent, presumably they should be able to be reasoned with if we come across them.
Makes you think that.
Well, as long as they are not being dominated, then they are doing this of their own free will. And I would assume that if they have some sort of intelligence, that they've made an active decision to follow these vampires.
Okay.
So let's go towards the worm. Any objections?
Let's go towards the worm.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Then
I just have one question before we go. I'm not objecting to going after the, but what's the plan when we get there?
Well, I thought Jasper had some method of controlling such a beast as a spellcaster.
Makes you
Okay.
think that.
Well, I'm just gonna hang back a little bit just in case. I'm better with a bow than I am with my axe. Just in case.
Well, I assume that because you have holy symbols of Pharasma and seem to be a spellcaster of some sort, and domination is something that can be done towards undead. Especially
Yeah,
the unintelligent.
Well, that's a little out of my expertise, but I'm good. I'll just provide support. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I do kind of think we should try to do what we can to staying at a distance, given the destruction we see.
Or maybe we could set a trap for it.
Yeah.
Jasper pulls out his spell book. It's a few pages. Alright. I could potentially take brief control of this. I could surely stop it in its tracks.
do you or what spell is it that you have in mind? And I may have you make an intelligence check related to it.
And undead. Alt undead.
Let me check Halt Undead real quick. Okay. So you know that with you would just know this offhand. You know that with Command Undead, whatever it is has to be able to hear you for it to be able to work. And then Intelligent Undead, at least normally, Intelligent Undead get a save, non-intelligent Undead don't get a save. You don't know if the necromantic energy in the area might affect that at all, but you do know that that is normally the case.
Would such a worm be able to even hear a spell like
Oh, it is a worm, that's true.
Well, I mean, a skeleton can hear that, and their ears are long gone, so...
That's
is there
true.
knowledge check
I
that
think
can roll to see
hearing
if you
is-
know this?
I mean, I
Necromantic
personally think
energies are a thing.
that hearing is more of like, not as much as like it has to literally physically hear you, but more just the concept of if it had ears and could hear your voice, then yeah, it works.
Mhm. Yeah, generally, as long as there's not a silence a silence spell, or too much background noise, then yeah, just like Parley said, or just like Nomad said.
Like you can power word kill anything. It just has to be able to hear you, but I can use it instantaneously. I mean, I know that this obviously places you in, you know, a bit of a in the hot seat, Jasper. If you have any reservations, I'd definitely be willing to hear them. Make this any easier for you if we can.
Maybe not a reservation, but a mission.
What's that?
I almost want to do this beforehand, but perhaps if I could take down a worm, what I really want to
What's
I
that?
want to confront that small army that escaped earlier.
How long can you dominate a worm? And you can that are we going to be able to find that army in time to use it?
I think you misunderstand. I don't care how we take care of the worm, obviously we need to take care of it. And then afterwards, or heading to the capital, I want to intercept that legion of undead.
The one that just
And
passes?
and kill every last one.
You think we can take all of them?
Worm, I don't see why not.
Exactly.
Why do you want to kill them all?
Maybe we should focus on actually killing the worm before considering going all gun ho.
Yes, this is-
I agree with
I
Mason.
don't think the worm is going to be, or at least given the destruction we've seen it cause, I fear it's going to be difficult, and I don't think we should get too ambitious so much, just focusing on it step at a time. So
also
Well,
there's
if
also there's a big difference between intelligent undead, unintelligent undead. Intelligent undead are still people to some degree, and they may just be convinced to follow vampires for some reason that we don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I understand your position, Prince. I really do. It's important that we always see people as people, never anything else. They have made their choice in a way. And in times of war, we don't always have the luxury to give everybody and everything the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but these are citizens of Zelkir, aren't they not? Or at least former citizens. I don't know how you would consider. They certainly consider themselves to be citizens of Zelkir.
Not Emmeline Tempest, I can tell you that.
Emmeline Tempest does not consider herself to be a citizen of Zelkir.
She is not a citizen of Zelda.
Oh,
And
she is not.
many in Undead here are perhaps not. I'm not saying the majority, but this is a gathering place for a great conflict beginning to unravel its mysteries.
And
And
sure,
I think you misunderstand what I was saying earlier. Yes, we are taking this one step at a time. Approach that worm, find out its weakness, kill it, and where do we go next? Well, I don't think that killing the worm is going to give us any additional information on the capital and how to handle it. But we do know, in that direction, there's a band of undead, 3 of which are vampires. And
Well, maybe-
3 of them, those 3 we all know.
Maybe there's a way of capturing one of these vampires to get more information. One possibility also is that these vampires are somehow in connection to... Actually, I don't think that's the case, because during our conversation, if they had a direct connection to Pietro... I don't know, that could have gone either way.
I'm sure they have a direct connection.
Well, just so you guys know, after finding the worm, depending on how that goes, you might need to rest to heal up and catch your breath. There's we never know.
That is
maybe we
true.
could-
That is true, and considering how quickly that arm approached us just outside here, I would suggest resting, at least in the or village that has some reason.
way I
Back
see
to
it
here
personally.
Just some of those
What?
not villages, please.
I agree with Estia.
Yeah.
That was not... The mindless undead are not good company.
my opinion, everything hinges on whether Jasper can trust him or not. If he can, then victory is almost assuredly ours. But if he can't, I really don't know what our other options would be at that point.
I am a bit worried because Jasper seems a bit overconfident with taking on this army that we had just saw. I mean, there was a reason we hid from them initially. They do have an overwhelming.
Yes, but if we have the giant carrion feeder at our side, then
Yes,
it's going
that
to
is
take more
true.
than them to stop that.
But everything, you're right, everything rests on whether or not they can actually accomplish this.
Yes, if
And-
we can't get control of the worm, then we'd have to try to kill it instead, and who knows how much that's going to take out of us, if we can do it.
Admittedly, I don't think I'm big a fan of taking control of the. I could potentially do that, but just like Sin and his pets, it's rather a liability. Someone can.
Yeah, what happens if you did gain control of it? How easily could you lose control of it?
Well,
Well,
if it is
and
not
we could be
intelligent,
dangerous.
then he won't.
It
And
depends on how good your connection is with.
as well, he could just command it to immediately rip itself to pieces.
Can you do that? Maybe with mindless, I do know a bit about charming and commanding others through magical means, and typically you cannot command
That is only if
them.
they are intelligent. Non-intelligent entities will not resist any command that is harmful to themselves. Yeah, like
Really?
with Dominate, though, you're right, yeah. If somebody's intelligent, then yeah, they will not carry out a self-destructive order. But if they're not intelligent, then will.
Okay. But then we won't be able to take out the army. But we can get to that when we get there. Maybe we should start moving towards it.
I mean, either way, if Jasper is able to take control of it, and we can't catch up to the army in time, we can't use it against them, then great. Jasper tells the worm to rip itself to pieces, we got rid of the worm. So worst case scenario for that, we got rid of the worm even if we can't catch up to the group. I'm ready when you guys are. I don't know if there's anything else we need to discuss before we head out.
So the only two things to take into account right now is what to do about the villagers that you saved, and also make sure that you are or that the soldier that you have with you is on board with what you're doing.
Well, how far away is the capital? We should probably send these villagers to the capital, presuming that it is somewhat protected.
Are you having this conversation where they can hear? And what about the soldier that Lord Bellevant sent with you?
I don't want them listening in.
Okay.
Villagers.
So all the villagers are not nearby where they can hear you. What about the soldier?
I don't care to discuss things with him either
Okay.
until we've come to a consensus. I
Right.
don't want to include him.
Yep, he's over then. He's
I don't
he's
think
tending to
that's-
the villagers, making sure that they're fine then.
I mean, look, hey, maybe I'm just a little paranoid, but I don't really know. I trust that guy 100%, and maybe he's good intention. I do something stupid. Any information right over here. So that's just my thoughts.
He's definitely here for informational purposes, at the least.
I do tend to agree, and I'm also a bit suspicious on how the army knew where we were to begin with. They came very quickly as soon as we were, almost as if someone told them. There might
I don't
be.
think- I don't think
Vampires
there's any foul play on his part.
Didn't they say that they were looking for a group of adventurers, i.e. us?
Yeah, so they knew that we were over here.
I'm going to roll a sense motive.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go over all the interactions I've had with this soldier. See if there's anything fishy.
Yeah.
Anything I can pick up. That is a 28.
Okay, so as you're kind of just thinking about, and actually give me an intelligence check to go along with that, because you're having to kind of recall all this. That one. Just kidding, a 19.
No,
Okay.
that was a 19. That was
Okay.
close to a 1. 22 total.
Okay. Alright, so you take a few minutes. You kind of just comb through your mind and your memories of your interactions with this soldier, which, by the way, you still haven't asked his name. And you realize that as you're kind of going over your memories. But anyway, with this
For
soldier...
Nomad, his name is Soldier.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying you don't know his name. But as you are kind of thinking about the way that he's acted, he very much seems to love Zelkir. He seems to have been someone who volunteered to go with you. And while he is certainly out of his breadth in assisting you, he seems genuine and enthusiastic. There's no malice that you can kind of detect as you think about the way that he deals with you guys. At least the way that you've seen it, he seems very genuine.
Well, I don't think there's any foul play from this guy. He genuinely, I can tell he genuinely loves his home, and he just wants to do whatever he can to help it. With this horrible invasion. But the one concern that I would have about him is his competence regarding all this.
Well, we would just need him to take them to the capital. Is that too much, or? I don't think we should take these villagers to fight the worm. I mean, I think that that's pretty obvious, not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Feed the worm. Just kidding.
We could use them as bait. I'm just kidding. That's out of character.
I would not be okay with that. So I think
I don't want to do that either. I was just making a joke.
Yeah, me neither.
I think we should ask the soldier to take the villagers up to the capital, because that'll, get rid of anyone giving away our position that we don't want to. We don't have to protect them, and
Why the capital?
well, where else were they going to go? Are they going
It's
to go
a
to the
capital
town?
place.
Back to Barrowwayne.
Yeah, because all the undead are going to the capital. If we let them go on their own, I am 80% sure that they're going to die along the way.
Okay.
So it might be a good idea for them to hang back with this soldier guy. Dang it! I should have asked his name, but anyways, I'll do that after this conversation. They should just hang back while we take care of the worm, and then kind of follow us from a short distance, so that we can take care of any undead on our way to the capital, and then we can help them get there safely. Because it's not just about keeping them alive; it's about them not joining the army of the dead.
I agree.
Right.
Keeping them behind us is going to stop becoming the undead. I think they are going to be people we're going to have to defend. But we could send them back to Barrowwayne. There was some undead on the way to Barrowwayne that we saw, but if they're good at sneaking, maybe they can make it. I'm not sure.
I think they'll be fine. They're the undead that we saw. They're the kind that, if you're behind a decent amount of cover, or even just maybe 100 or so feet away, they're not going to take notice.
Okay.
They'll be fine.
Well, let's talk to the soldier and see if he's up to it. I'm gonna go to the soldier and maybe
He salutes you as you approach.
how do you feel confident in being able to get these villagers back to Barrow? Would you be against doing something with?
he looks at them for a moment. Are you asking this where they can hear?
He... Sure.
Okay. He looks at them uneasily, and he steps forward to you, and in a whisper, he says, "Sir, I could probably bring them back to Barrowing. The route that we took was safe enough, as long as nothing's changed in the last couple days. I'm here to free the capital. I'm here to help you, and as much as I would hate to see harm come to this group of villagers..." And he kind of starts, I wouldn't say choking up, but he's biting his lip a little bit, and then decides to come out and say it. "Their lives are not worth as much as what we need to do in the capital, and I am here to help you accomplish that goal. So while I could, the orders that I have from Lord Bellevant, the reason that I am here supersedes that."
Wait here for a second. I need to talk to my... again.
He nods to you and salutes, and steps back towards the villagers. Though you can see him shooting you guys glances every few moments.
I want to look back and do a quick perception to see his ability to like the general knowledge of like how strong he is in general.
So you're gonna give me a combat intelligence check. That's gonna be your base attack bonus plus your intelligence modifier.
Attack. So should I just roll intelligence and add
Yep.
it?
Yep. Roll your intelligence and add it.
It's a 5, so 17.
Wait, say again?
My base attack.
Oh,
is
okay.
5, so it's a 17.
Okay, with a 17, so you're sizing him up. As far as how he would go toe-to-toe with the average soldier, he stands as if he is very accustomed to combat. He's well equipped. He's got a number of weapons on himself. He walks as if he knows how to fight. You know, he's the sort of person that as he's walking, he's checking corners. He's not just walking oblivious to his surroundings. He's ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. From what you can tell, he looks like and carries himself like a very good and well-trained soldier.
Okay, well, far enough away from him where he cannot hear, in a voice that he cannot hear. I'm gonna... So, he seems very intent on either going to the capital or joining us. Now, I'm against bringing these people with us. I am more for sending them to safety and
We
maybe
could just
getting...
tell them to go to
Yeah.
spreading news about the vampires.
Is it the nearest village, Barrowayne, though?
Right.
Right?
But he doesn't seem like he wants to. I could suggest to him in ways that probably cannot exist to go back to Bear.
Why would we rob him of that though? He wants to fight and die for his land and to free the capital. He has every right to come with us.
He does, but he did say that the villagers are not worth the time and effort.
I agree.
Oh.
I mean,
I said it
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
it sounds harsh. It really does.
Where we spent all this time trying to save? I
Yeah.
feel like...
And they are alive, are they not? They have still a free choice.
I'll let you guys make the decisions.
Yes, but we can make sure that they see it to a safe place.
No point in. There's no point in senseless, pointless loss of life.
Oh,
But
I
they
agree.
need to get out of here, but we can't take them.
yeah, I agree with
Prioritize
I
saving.
agree.
So-
But I will let you guys make the decision on this and tell them what to do.
I don't want to be the bad guy. The prince is saying.
Yes, I don't want to be the bad guy. Out of
I agree
character.
that we should try to get them to go to somewhere else that's safe.
Okay, the path that we took, we were unmolested in our travels. We could just give them our map, and we can just, with our marked path, we can just give them that, tell them to stick to that path, keep your head down, be very quiet, don't take any chances, move carefully, and then, this path should see you to safety.
Can bring the soldier with us. Think they can make it on their own?
As if they follow our instructions. I'm sorry, Jasper, go ahead.
No, there's one problem with the soldier. His mission is the capital.
Yeah.
We just have to persuade him that this is an essential detour, followed by another essential detour. And I feel like I wasn't being listened to. I didn't say we would do it one after the other in the exact same day. But if that's possible, that would be one. But we have to keep that worm. Because if we Sparrowwayne, I don't think we stand a fight.
Yeah, let's just...
With that, Jasper starts heading towards the guard.
I guess we're going towards the worm.
Yes,
You guys
let's...
figure it out.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. You
I'm
approach.
not gonna be the bad guy.
So you approach the guard. Or actually, Jasper, I'll let you say what you do. The guard is standing with the rest of the villagers. And they look at you expectantly as you approach this time, and the guard salutes you. As, sir?
And Jasper just casual salute. There's a minor change
Yeah,
in
whatever.
plans.
Get out of the way, worm. Anyway.
You've all been stuck in a ditch for who knows how long. We need you to make your way through safe passage. We have sojourned that direction, provide you with a map, and we have been unmolested by undead the entire trip. A very safe passage, as long as nobody yells, right? So he looks at the children. That means we need to keep voices to a minimum. But you will be safe, and you will make it to Barrowayne, and there you will be protected. For those of you who have the capacity and the courage, you will fight for Zelkir. And remind me your name again, as Jasper looks to the captain.
My name is Charlemagne.
Out of character, Charlemagne or Charlemagne?
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne. Why, if that ain't a noble name. Now, the capital is still our end goal, right? But this also has to do with the change of plans. There is a very pressing, perhaps very immediate matter of that giant beast. Now, know what direction it's headed in, and we have some idea of what it is, and how to stop it. If you're willing to accompany us to the capital, I would ask that you first come with us, take care of that creature. Might make another pit stop along the way to get more information on the capital. And then, if we're still alive, we will get to the capital. Does that work for you?
Charlemagne nods. Lead the way.
Good. You could use your skill, certainly. Alright. Now, aside from us still needing to give you that map to the villagers, is there anything that you need before you make this journey back to Barrowayne?
So you notice as you started addressing them, shortly after you switched your focus to the soldier, one of the adults, the mother, took the little girl to the side and was consoling her and talking to her, distracting her so that she wasn't listening to you as much. Everybody else was listening attentively as you spoke, and they looked back and they say, well, we have supplies. We have at least some food. We're not travelers, we're not wanderers, but if you say that this path is safe, then I suppose that's the best option.
Unfortunately,
You're
it
sure
is.
that Barrowain is still standing?
Mostly positive. We're gonna catch up to that worm. It is still standing. Pretty good reason for us to not be grouped up at the moment, given the urgency of the matter. Barrowain is the last standing city, ruled by a noble man who is rather strong and rather intelligent. Welcome you in with loving arms, but the sooner you get there and the sooner we leave, the better.
And they have food?
Hardly. But it's enough.
They don't have very much
They have
food,
defenses, so.
but they have a tall stone wall, far better than you had here.
The younger man pipes up and says, "We should just go north, leave Zelkir." And the grandfather turns back to him and says, "This land is my home. This is where I was born, and this is the land where I will die. We stay here, we go to Barrowain, but we do not go north." And at that point, you can see that there's a little bit of tension
You're
between
echoing
them.
on Erica's mic, and it's really hard
Sorry.
to understand.
Sorry. So there looks to be a little bit of tension between the two men there, but at least for the moment, the grandpa, he quells the others and turns to you and says, "Provide us with this map, and we will make our way to Barrowain, to this supposed safety. And if the gods smile on us, if Zelakar aids us, then we will make it to Barrowain in safety."
Funny enough, our allies look for the man who hired us is actually looking for Zelakar, so fate may smile on us yet.
The man smiles.
Jasper reaches back and... do you have the map? Any of you?
The old man says to you one last thing. Yeah, Hestia had the map. So the old man says one last thing. He says, "I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who holds on to the old stories."
And apparently our friend Prince over there has them too. It's full of surprises. But sorry to sound in a rush. It's are. But here is the map. And, well, Godspeed to you all. And I think you'll do fine.
Wait, Taggart, did I take Orloff's circle emblem? I can't remember if I mentioned that to you or not.
Probably. What was his circle emblem? You'll have to remind me.
It would have just been the same as mine.
Oh.
Just pretty much like a small badge.
Yeah.
That would have identified.
I mean, if you would have, then yes.
And it would have had the symbol of my order.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna walk over to the little girl. And I'm just gonna kneel down. Does she have any response to me?
She recoils a little bit, but her mother pats her on the shoulder and says, "It's okay, dear."
What you've been through has been... You're definitely scared right now.
"I'm not scared. We would have fought them. We had to hide for Papa."
Of course. Of course, you were biding your time. You're going to need to be brave for the journey ahead. They're counting on you. Make sure that they can make it to Barrowain. I want you to have this. And I'm going to give her the emblem. Whenever you feel scared, I want you to take this, grip it tightly. All of your fears into this, melt away, just like that. I do the same with mine. I'm gonna take out mine. It works every time.
She grasps it with both hands and squeezes very tightly. You can see kind of the blood vessels are showing through on her face, and she kind of grunts a little bit as she squeezes, and then she gives you a smile and says, "It worked."
I'm going to give her a warm smile and pat on the shoulder and walk away. Good luck to you all.
The younger man looks at you with a little bit of distrust, maybe a hint of, I wouldn't say betrayal, of feeling kind of betrayed from you, and then most of the rest of the people look at you with at least some semblance of gratitude. The grandfather, though, especially, is kind of beaming with pride as he kind of looks at everything that's happening. And he turns to both you, Nomad, and you, Jasper, and says, "Go. If you're freeing the capital, if you're to liberate Zelkir, then go with Zelikar's strength. Make Zelkir proud." And then he offers you, it's stiff, both with age and possibly with something like arthritis, but he offers you a clunky salute.
Salute back. A clean form.
He nods to you, and then begins gathering up the supplies with the rest of his family. The mother comes up and asks if you have any blankets or bedrolls that they would be able to take. If you have any extras. Theirs were all destroyed in the fires.
I'll give him my bedroll.
Okay.
I don't really use mine, so I'll give them mine too.
I'll give mine as well, because let's face it, I'm not sleeping these days.
I'll give him good berries.
Okay.
Just reminds you of what you've lost.
Hestia says that she gives them some good berries.
Ooh, okay, now that was... Yeah, that's the real stuff, right?
I forget, what level spell is that?
First
Okay.
level, maybe that high.
Alright.
It's Enrique wife.
Yeah, it's
Yep. First level spell. Okay. Alright, so...
do they have any weapons on them?
they do not.
Okay. I'm gonna give them my warhammer. I don't really.
Okay.
So I'm gonna grab it. It's not masterwork or anything, but it's still a good, perfectly fine warhammer. So the son about late 30s, early 40s.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna walk up to him, tell him like, I can't impart with much more, but I know that I'm sure you want to have to use this, but
Okay.
And I'll give the dagger to the woman.
Okay.
I'll just pull it out, flip it, held by the blade, and offer it to her.
She takes it, and the man takes the warhammer as well, and they begin making preparations to leave. And did you give them your map or just a copy of the map?
Yeah, if we could have made a copy, then yeah, I'd certainly do that.
Yep, go ahead and make
Or
a...
just had a copy.
I believe go ahead and make a knowledge geography check. Somebody to make a copy of the map, and then that will be the copy that you give to them.
Probably best if I do it.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Set history.
Natural 20. It's the best map on the continent.
It's better than the original.
21.
Okay. Yeah, so you actually do a pretty good map. So just a quick sketch, but from what you can tell, it's going to be just as good to follow as the original. So, yep, good to go. All right, so you begin. So what is your plan as far as tracking down the worm of sorts?
Well, it's left a pretty big trail, I assume.
Okay.
Yeah, just follow the trail, I suppose.
Follow the
We
yellow
probably do need
bricked
to
road.
figure out a trap for it. Does anyone have any ideas of? Are we just gonna walk up on it?
Yeah, we just pull up.
All right,
Just drive by.
Style.
let's go.
Drive by fireballing.
I'm gonna hang back with Gabriel.
Okay. So you travel throughout the day, and I would say, how far would you guys go before making a change of pace or change of plans?
Some signs of the creature slowing down, maybe.
Worm sign.
I would definitely want to slow down and be a lot more careful.
Sure.
If,
So I'm saying,
like,
how long would you go before you change your plans?
Like maybe 2 miles. That'd be.
That's it. Okay.
No, I'm just saying be slow and careful. If there's a place where
Yes.
it gets if there's thick fog or there's a lot of trees where it gets difficult to see.
The reason that I ask is because Zelkir itself, if you're going north to south, would probably take you 3 to 4 days traveling by foot. And I'm not sure how far you guys would go. The capital is about halfway.
Is
I mean,
there
that's-
any way to determine how fast the worm is going? Because we know when it destroyed the place we were just at.
You know that it. Let's see. For speed, no, I don't know that there is.
I'm gonna look at the
Actually,
tracks.
yeah.
How
If
fresh they
you
are.
if you're paying attention to the freshness of the tracks over time, you can tell if you're gaining on it or losing on
I'm
it.
already rolling survival. I
Yeah.
got 30.
So I would say, yeah, you're gonna be able to tell its speed. Let me. So you can tell this thing moves with a land speed of probably in the realm of 60 feet, so double your land speed.
So, wow. So we are not going to catch this thing.
Unless we.
Or we find some way to attract it to us.
Always going.
Do we know what this worm is attracted to? Is there any way to emulate that in any way?
Buildings. We need to make
So
a
let's
town.
just make a building.
Pretend to be a building.
Well, it probably
Zelkir,
looks
Fortnite
living.
edition.
But I feel
Build some
like if
walls.
we do something like that, we're probably likely to attract the vampires again. Oh.
So I go back to my previous question. At what point would you change your plan? So it's gonna take you probably 3 or 4 hours of kind of following the track to tell that much information about, how fast is it moving. And at this point, you know that you're probably still a day, maybe 2 days journey if you were to go straight towards the capital. And you're heading so the capital is southeast or southwest from where you are. You're following the tracks, and they're going. I mean, they're winding a little bit, but it's mostly south.
I can't remember. Did you have a map?
I don't.
Map?
I've been.
Oh, okay.
Well, I've got a rough one. Let me just. I'm gonna give you guys something quick in Paint.
Yeah.
It's been. I apologize for. Okay, so apparently I didn't tell many people. I guess I just told Enrique, and I guess today I told Jake. So I've recently got called to the bishopric in my ward, and I have been busier than I anticipated. So I have not had a lot of free time. So things that I was hoping to get to a month ago are starting to be gotten to now.
Well, congratulations.
That's fine.
You said
It's not a
condolences wrong, but yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's not horrible, but it's
That was exactly what I said.
yeah.
So I got it right.
Yeah, you got it right. Thank you.
It's just busy. It's
It-
very
yeah.
busy.
It's busy, but I mean, as a cool thing, I'm actually going to be running an in-person D&D campaign with the youth in
Yes,
the
you told me
area.
about that. You told all of us about that actually.
Oops,
Asked us to
where am I
contribute.
going?
We didn't contribute.
That's right. Yeah, you guys are horrible friends. Okay, so Zelkir is this. So over here, this is the ocean. This is Barrowain. The double lines are mountains, for the most part. So this...
Not seeing it.
What? I thought I did it. Oh, I just shared Discord, didn't I? My bad. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here, at the big B, that's Barrowain. Actually, this, let me erase that. That is in the wrong spot. That's not the right spot. This is the right
Is
spot.
that where Big?
Big B is the Barrowain. Okay, this is about what you guys did. So you traveled up here, followed close to the mountains, and then this is where you got ambushed. So, boom, and yeah. So you came in.
We came from Barrowing, or we went towards Barrowing?
Hold on. So the rest of the party, actually, that was actually this way. So this is where you entered into Barrowain, or to Zelkir at the beginning of the campaign. You traveled with, or the rest of the party, other than Prince, traveled up until probably close to this point, at which point you were ambushed, and then you teleported here to Barrowain with most of you, or most of the parts of you. At which point you were in Barrowain. You came out of Barrowain, dealt with the siege that was going on in this area, came back in, helped defend, and then you came over here. So this is a pass to the north, a country to the north, and you came to about here-ish. This is where you started coming down. So this is where you saw that first town, the one that was undead people. This is the other town, or the battlefield thing with undead people. This is where you met the villagers just barely. The capital is somewhere over here. So you've been making good time recently. When you were with what's his name at the beginning, you were going much slower. You took about a week to go from here to here. Yeah, with Vocalion. So you were traveling slowly. You got here, you traveled this distance in about a week. You've done this distance in about 2 days. So you're going a bit faster than you were with Vocalion. You also have a smaller group and an undead person in your party who can, keep watch so everyone else can get good sleep. Yeah, so this is where you are now. At the moment, you're following the worm stuff south. Your best guess, you're somewhere around here, and the capital is somewhere in here. And these are approximate. It's not to scale, but it's close-ish. So
this thing is faster than us. It looks like it's winding, but it's still going.
General southward trend.
What do you guys say? Keep chasing the thing that's faster than us, or?
Well, okay, you've only been following its tracks for probably 3 or 4 hours, so it's not like you're not Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli going after the orcs.
Would we be able to know with any reasonableness if it would ever settle down for a time? Like, does it ever just like?
It will. So, based
that?
on the knowledge check that you got before, you know that it seeks out life, and it feeds on life.
Do we have any idea where the largest town is?
Barroway.
I mean, do you think it's going towards Barroway? I mean,
From
the largest
what
town that's
Vocalion had
close.
told you, it seemed to be guarding the path to the capital. It seemed to be guarding at least the way out west. Is the way that he described it. Whether or not that's accurate, that's how Vocalion described it.
Oh, we're some living people, so I mean, would it maybe be circling the capital? You guys think?
I think
If it's defending it.
possibility. Think about it. That undead army outside of Barroway. What kind of tactic? What kind of strategy did you say it was again? Matt?
That we used a wedge.
No, what were the undead doing outside of Barroway?
The siege? Is that what you're going
The
for?
siege, yes. They were stalling.
Right. Intended to probably cut them off in alliances to find such war of attrition.
Right. So, at the moment, this beast doesn't seem interested in Barroway. Or maybe it just became interested in Barroway. If it did, we're not going to catch up to it. What we're hoping is that the beast is still on the prowl. Or something around here, whether it's guarding capital like Rebellion suggested, or not. So I think that we want Barroway to remain standing. We go for the beast. The siege against Barroway will likely have to continue stalling. We'll have one less great resource. That being the worm that we destroy.
So I want to step in for just a moment, if you don't mind. Just for clarity. I know where the worm is, I know where it's going, and I know kind of what's going on. But as far as location goes, what I'm... That all depends... Like, what happens depends on how far you guys will chase it, if that makes sense.
I suggest that we continue our chase. Oh, well, what time is it today?
It is noon. We could... I mean, midnight. We could probably...
Oh, midnight?
Yes.
It's midnight right now.
It's midnight for me in Eastern
Yeah,
time. Oh, in-game. Sorry. Totally different question. Okay, in-game, right now it's probably about 4 o'clock. So, the light is fine. There's a bit of, it's kind of an overcast day, but it's not as dark as it was when the vampires got up to where you were. And actually, one other thing, you know that about these exoskeletons when they're infused with necromantic energy, one of the things that they'll do sometimes is frequent the areas around crypts and caverns sometimes, but they don't have to. But the point is it may have a lair, it may have something like that, or otherwise.
Is there any way we can do like a knowledge of the geography of the
Yeah.
land? We had a map.
Yep. Yep. It's going to be a pretty low check. Go ahead and give me it's going to be a pretty low DC. So go ahead and give me a knowledge geography.
Oh, ouch. Oh, it's still 16.
I mean, there's not enough detail on the map, nor do you have any recollection of the direct geography of this area to know more than, for the most part, the section that you're in is more, you're heading into the more thick desert. You are, let me pull up the thing. You'll probably pass the main road that goes between Barroway and the capital today if you keep on moving. And then once you get further south than that, it's probably just like straight desert. For a good 30, 40, 50 miles.
Well, it has no need to go in the desert, obviously, so I'm sure it will stop before the desert. That's my assumption. Does that sound about right?
O'Kellion, I believe he was traveling through the desert, and that's where he made his encounter.
I don't believe Vocalion mentioned exactly where he was traveling through. He just mentioned the worm and that he was at... Actually, go ahead and make an intelligence check to see if you can remember exactly what Vocalion said.
Intelligence, okay.
Alright, Captain Smart Boy. No. I'm gonna say... Well, okay, no, with an 11, it was only a couple days ago. He said something about a mine.
Mine.
It's mine.
I thought he said something about the desert, but he definitely mentioned a mine.
Safe run did enter.
Hestia, you're the one with the remarkable tracking abilities, and you've gotten us this far. What do you think? At what time should we retire and find safe shelter before we continue searching?
When are the undead out the most?
Well, not all of us can run forever. That's more the point that I was getting at. When the undead are out the most, I think they're out about equal times of night. I don't know if it matters to them. Unless it's vampires.
When we're tired.
Either way, if we do stay on it for long enough, we should eventually, at least, happen upon it when it goes back to its lair.
Also,
Yeah.
don't forget that it is attracted to life, and we still have people here with us in our party that are alive. So it might detect us before we get to it. So that's another plus-ish.
Right, yeah, and we're trying to approach the capital. And if it's supposed to guard the capital, then, yeah, we do have that on our side.
Alright, well, let's go.
Alright.
You travel probably another 3 or 4 hours to the south, and as you get there, you pass the... Actually, no, it's about the time that you reach the main road. Babe, could you mute yourself so there's not the echo?
Sorry.
Yeah. I'll make sure to mute myself when you're going to be talking so that you can talk without the feedback, but... as you reach the point on the map where you're pretty sure you should be getting to the main road, interestingly, the land around you starts to change in an unexpected way. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Before you start to see the ground opening up into a small fissure. And as you go further and further, it gets deeper and deeper to the point where, as you get a little bit south of the main road, this fissure opens up into a massive chasm, likely going down well over 100, possibly several hundred feet down, and at widest width, probably about 15 feet across.
Is it straight down?
So, the size of the worm, then.
A little bit smaller than the worm. However, you do know that sometimes things like this can fit into slightly smaller spaces. That they can compress themselves a little. And as you look out, I mean, it's getting darker, but the fissure seems to go off for a long ways. And I'll draw on the map kind of how far you're able to see the fissure go. But it seems, so here's the road that goes to Barrowlane, and the fissure seems to go like this. At least if it goes in the same direction. So you see like the yellowish part here, and then the red is if it keeps going in the same direction, the same trend that it's been showing. And this fissure is not
going in and out.
well, no. So the fissure, it's not. It doesn't look. It looks like it was made from either an earthquake or the land pulling apart, not by something digging it out.
Oh. Sorry, you say something else.
Yeah. So it looks big. It does not look man-made, but it is massive and very much was not on the map. And those of you who have spent time in Zelkir, you've never heard of this before. And it's notable. Like, it's big. Not quite Grand Canyon big, but...
I doubt this is what was meant by the mine. Elliot. But it's notable. I think we're all thinking the same thing.
Oh, last thing. The tracks get up to this, and as soon as the crevice starts to widen up big enough, the tracks for the thing do disappear into it. So, by what the tracks are showing you, the thing was able to fit into the crack and then went down into it.
What were you saying, Chester?
I think we're all thinking the same thing about this right here. The worm probably does rest and, well, probably in there still.
So what's the game plan? Are we going to go down into the hole, or are we, because...
Quick question.
Definitely scout.
Does everyone know what spells they have prepared if they are a prepared spellcaster?
Yes.
Do we have our 4th level spells now that we're level 8, or do we wait until our next rest?
You have leveled up, and since you've had... I'll say that you've had enough time to recuperate and fully level up in character. But it is getting late, both in-game and out of game. So, as you are discussing this, the ground begins to rumble. You can feel the motion as the earth seems to shift. It almost looks for a moment as if the fissure starts to widen.
We should probably get out of the way real quick, at least.
But that is where we will end tonight. Because you can hear something very large moving towards you.
Yeah.
Y'all are trying to die.
Alright, any viewers on Twitch, I apologize for the technical difficulties, but we'll try and get that figured out for next time and make it so that you can better hear everybody else. But for now,
Prince, what would you suggest?
that's where I'm going to
Master
end the stream.
tactics?